Today on the Transplant Helper, I'm going to be offering you 5 apps I promise you can add to your smartphone today if you're not already using them that will probably enhance your life 100-fold, make things easier, more convenient, and really get you on track to living a great transplant life. Go ahead and stay tuned. Hey folks, welcome to Transplant Helper today. My name is Jim Merle. How many of you remember the marketing scheme that was put out by Apple over 10 years ago, where they put on television as well as on radio commercials and such? Yeah, there's an app for that. I remember that. I remember being so interested in all those apps. It was a new thing then, but all those apps that were being offered by Apple and eventually by other companies to make our lives a lot easier. And I'm going to give you 5 apps today that I promise you I use in my life every single day that will hopefully help to enhance your life as well as make it easier. But before I get into that, let me go ahead and ask you, if you're new to this channel, maybe you've not already subscribed, how about go ahead and hit that big subscribe button right beneath the video, as well as maybe even the bell notification off to the side. That would be absolutely great, and I will try my best to provide you with content a couple of times a week that I hope will help to advocate, educate, and motivate you as a transplant patient. Let me ask you again, as I did the other day as well, if you're watching inside of the Facebook app, consider jumping over to the YouTube app itself, or YouTube's page, my page, and watch the videos from there. They're much more interactive. There's much more content over on YouTube than you'll find here on Facebook, as well as the fact, the little secret, if you think I'm a little bit long-winded or maybe I talk too much, you can go ahead and hit a button up there in the corner to actually increase the speed of these particular programs, so you can listen and, half the time, that sort of thing. And that might be handy for you. But anyway, with that said, I want to give you these 5 apps I keep on my phone and actually use every single day that makes my life easier. Some of these will seem very basic. Most of these you'll probably say, I already got that. I do that anyway. I just want to remind you of them, as well as maybe add a few you haven't thought about. Number 1, most important app on my phone by far has to be my calendar app. Now, we all have our opinions on which calendar app's better. I don't even care about that. I do have a favorite. It's fantastical. But anyway, the calendar app, which one doesn't matter, but you know as well as I do that as a transplant patient, we have so many things to keep up with pre and especially post-transplant. Clinic visits, doctor's appointments, medication refills, whatever. We just have a lot to think about, a lot to keep up with. And I found one of the better ways to do that in modern times is to actually use a calendar app. I can put all my appointments in on the fly. I can then in turn share those appointments out with my wife, Jennifer, or whoever needs to know. And we can really keep track of things a whole lot better. In addition to that, I always set reminders. For my case, I like to set a reminder 48 hours before the appointment, as well as several hours before the appointment as well. So I'm constantly getting reminded that yes, this is an upcoming event. And then I can turn around like I like to do and even ask my phone in the morning, what are the events of the day? And I'll get them even spoken to me by voice. It's just amazing what these things will do. But I think a calendar app is very important. You don't need to start out your first years after transplant not having things in order and not having, if you will, like we like to say, your ducks in a row. Okay, so a calendar app is important. Number 2, I like to have on my phone all the time, basically my pharmacy apps. Now, whether that's just a local pharmacy like CVS, Rite Aid, Walgreens, you choose whatever's good for you. But if your pharmacy has an app, that is a huge help in making sure you keep your medication straight. Now, in my case, my app happens to be one that has a pill minder in it, which is important. It reminds me to take my pills on time, every time, the right way, as well as it has pill refills. That is, with just a click of a button, I can go ahead and refill any and all of my medications on the fly, and maybe even scan some of those bottles. I love to do that. Something about that just makes me feel neat, like I'm working at some store. I just scan the bottle and boom, the prescriptions are ordered, and then I in turn get text and notifications that tell me where my prescription is along the trail. Has it been filled? Does it need to be called back into the doctor because the prescriptions themselves are out? all that stuff. I'm notified even when my prescriptions are ready. If there's a problem, it's just great. So let me encourage you to have some type of pharmacy/pill minder app on your phone. Let me add to that in the same app, if possible. If not, WebMD is a good one. Pill Identifier is another one, but make sure that your app or some app on your phone has a pill identifier built in. You know, there are occasions that after we get our pills for months and months and years, they always look the same way. They got the same little number, the same shape, same color. There are occasions when we get our medications and they're not the same. They don't look the same, and you need to be checking that. I actually lost a really good friend of mine because basically she got her prescription. She assumed it was what it always was, even though it looked a little bit different. And then she ended up not being able to missed out on almost a month of anti-rejection medicine because the pill she had been given was not the right pill. And she didn't catch that. But if you'll use a pill identifier where you can look those pills up, check to see what they are, what the dosage is, then you can be resting assured that the pill you have in your bottle is exactly what you expect it to be. Just avoiding some of those mistakes can be handy. So app number one, a calendar. App number two, a pharmacy app and or pill minder, whatever. The next one here, a water minder. Now, you may not see the importance of this, but especially myself, post-transplant, I have a lot of problems staying hydrated. So having some sort of an app which constantly reminds me throughout the day, drink water. You need more water, and helps to track and keep up with how much intake I'm making on the water track and making sure that I'm drinking enough. I cannot tell you the number of times, literally, when I've just gotten to the end of a day, felt absolutely terrible, lightheaded, dizzy, feel like I'm going to pass out, headache, just all kind of symptoms have come about. I'll pick up the phone, call my coordinator, call my doctor. Maybe they'll call me back in the middle of the night even, and I'll say, look, here's what's going on with me. I don't know what's going on. I even have a low grade or a low fever, all these things. And I'll say, what could be happening? And they say, Mr. Merle, have you been drinking today? And sure enough, I think back and I said, no, I haven't. And I'll turn around and start drinking my water. Before you know it, I feel fine. Getting dehydrated can cause those symptoms. I've had other programs on that. I'll try to link some of them up here in the corners or maybe in the description below. But anyway, you need to be hydrated and you need a water minder to help to do that. On the other side, though, some of us, probably I would say 25% of us at least, are actually on a restricted fluid diet pre or post transplant. And it can do the same thing. You just go in when you set that app up, because you're going to need some liquid, some intake. But when you set the app up, set it for a lower standard. Maybe you're going to drink so many milliliters per day or so many ounces per day. Set it for that lowered standard. The doctor has a sign. Listen to what they say on that, but set it to the lowered standard and it'll do the same thing. It'll both help to remind you to drink, but it'll also let you know when you full up on drinking, when you don't need any more, and that can help with those fluid restrictions. So a water minder is a good thing to have. So a calendar, a pill minder, a water minder, and then this one here can be a big one. I'm not a real exercise buff, but some sort of a health tracking app, particularly one that can count your steps and or your walks that you might go on, whatever exercise you're involved in. And basically, to be honest with you, there are so many of those out there. I don't know which one is good. I just simply use the one built into my iPhone, just the help minder. I don't want to call it minder, but anyway, the health app built on my iPhone, because all I keep up with personally are my steps and or the mileage that I walk every single day. And that can be really, really important. Let me tell you a quick story back prior to my transplant. So pre-transplant, I'm waiting to be listed. As a matter of fact, I go into my cardiologist one day, many of them were part of my transplant team, but Dr. Pambukin, Slappy Pambukin, yeah, that's really her name. I went into Dr. Pambukin and she asked very quickly, off the cuff, Mr. Merle, how much are you walking every day? I looked at her, I said, I walk plenty. She said, no, how much are you walking every day? Are you walking 10 minutes, 20 minutes, 30 minutes? Are you walking a mile, half mile, a kilometer? How much are you walking? I said, I don't know. Like I say, I stay busy. I walk enough. She looked at me with this crazy look on her face and she said, I'm going to call you non-compliant for right now. I'm going to send you off to 12 weeks. That's 12 weeks of cardiac rehab. And when you finish that, then I'll consider listing you for transplant. But you got to prove to me that you're willing to exercise. Well, I've been exercising, but I couldn't prove it. So you know what I did? I grudgingly went off to cardiac rehab, but while I was there, I tracked every move I made. And now to this day, if you ask me how much I walked today or yesterday or 6 weeks ago, I pull up my phone, look it up, and I can tell you. And of course, those apps are great for that. You may have a certain app that you like to use. I use that. Many use the Apple Watches, Fitbits. I don't even get into that. The basic app, riding along in my pocket like my cell phone does enough for me. Maybe not that most accurate, but it does enough for me. So that's one good thing to have, an exercise app. And then here we go, number 5, and maybe you hadn't used this one yet. As a matter of fact, this is the last one that I've gotten and the last one that I've started making use of. And that is, if you're a transplant center, hospital, doctor, whatever, if they also offer something to you that they may be calling a patient portal, go ahead and get that. It's actually a great thing if you can sign up for that. What that allows you to do in most cases is to go in, look at your most recent doctor visits, your most recent lab work, whatever, most recent testing procedures, and see for yourself what is being said and what has been found about your body. You know, because most of the time, if you're like I am, you're going for the doctor visits, you're probably trying to get out of there. You don't want to be there too long that day. Maybe it's almost lunchtime, to tell you the truth. You want out. And so you don't ask enough questions. Or maybe your doctors they're not that good. They should be, but they're not that good with going over things like your blood work, with really explaining your test. But if you got that patient portal app, the one that, how many times have they offered that to me? And I said, I don't need that. And then finally I got it. I love it. I can go in and find out health information about me and find out about my medical records and find out about billing even sometimes that I really need to know about. So it's really become a handy app. So I think that's just one of those apps, probably number 5 on the list, but one of those apps that can definitely make things easier and or better. So let me recap them again. Number 1, a calendar. You already knew that. Number 2, a pill minder. Great, a pharmacy app. Number 3, a water minder. Number 4, an exercise app. And number 5, some type of a patient portal app or a way to connect with your transplant center. I think those are all great things. They're all things I use every day. And by the way, at this point, I would love for you to comment below the video right here. Go ahead and put your comment. Tell me about the apps that you use every day. I'm sure there are many that are the same, but probably even more that are different. Tell me about the apps you're using every day, how you're using them, how they're helping you out in your life, and what a difference they're really making. Because in this modern world, with all the technology we have that's packed away in something as small as this, why not take advantage when you can? If this program has helped you out in any way, how about go ahead and give me a big thumbs up, like this program, share it out with your family and friends. That would be absolutely awesome. And especially oftentimes as we're closing out these videos, I have some videos I like to pop up on the screen here beside me. You'll see some in just a moment. Go ahead and click on some of those other videos. Sometimes it's my content, sometimes it's the content of others, but it's usually related to what we're talking about, and it will just take you to the next level in being educated to live the transplant life. I appreciate you joining me today. Until next time, please stay stronger, friends.